In November of 2023, the Swell Pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell Pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Camper Vans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell Pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell Pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell Pod.
This is interview 76 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're at Kiln Portland in Oregon talking with Marielle Balogh. Marielle is the founder and chief creative officer at Tributary Design Studio, where she helps women and underrepresented founders grow their small businesses into profitable companies through meaningful brand building that connects with customers. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you enjoy. Marielle, thank you so much for being on the Swell Pod and the Kiln Road Trip on our journey to get 100 interviews with various different pleasantly rebellious people, and you are one of the 100.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. If you can, for our audience, can you just introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do and what you're passionate about?
Yeah, my name is Marielle, and I'm the founder and chief creative officer at Tributary Design Studio here in Portland, Oregon. And we specialize in helping women and underrepresented founders with their branding, packaging, and website design, and really pride ourselves in supporting those types of businesses to grow and evolve into profitable companies.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been doing that?
About 7 years.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, before that I was in public relations and marketing and did a big career pivot at the same time of launching a company. So
what was the impetus that sparked that? So going from your career to then building this?
So I inherently was always creative. I had years of doing freelance photography, doing videography for marketing videos and things like that in tandem with my public relations experience. And so I just didn't feel like it was an alignment for me career-wise. I didn't love the future of media. And I just thought, I worked with a lot of designers in-house and was I really love the things that they get to work on. And so it just felt like the right move for me to ramp up my technical design skills and take night school and do all that while I carried my full-time job until I could take on some clients, and then eventually got enough full-time work to be bye boss, I'm gonna go do my own thing now. So yeah.
Was there ever any struggle or conflict kind of juggling both of those two things?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a lot of work.
Yeah.
Your social life takes a back seat, and especially when you're younger, it's a big priority usually, but you just make that sacrifice for, the betterment of your future and what you want to build. So yeah. And I'm sure that moment, when you're okay, this is my thing now and I'm leaving that must have felt pretty good. It did. Yeah, it did. I remember feeling really celebratory, also scared, and just where is this going to go? And so I have so much empathy when I work with entrepreneurs who are in that position, starting a new business. And I'm I've been there. I know exactly how you feel. And also congratulatory on how amazing it is and brave it is and all of that. So
I heard that when you said that to me. It was you seem to understand.
Yeah.
And I think one of my posts last week on LinkedIn was I feel all those things you just said. I feel scared. I feel absolutely excited. How can you actually feel those things at the same time? It's kind of possible.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like anything could happen. The world feels very open and you could take it any direction. Yeah. So yeah. That's where I become kind of a therapist in tandem with design skills. Yeah.
The niche that you focus on, help me understand how why that niche, why are you passionate about that?
Yeah, it's not that I don't help other types of businesses. I definitely support all kinds of businesses, but I just get most passionate about servicing those businesses because like I resonate as a female founder, just like some of the challenges you face. And so it just feels really easy to connect with like-minded businesses in that way. And that helps like drive the like energy behind the development of a brand, and it feels very like purposeful. I do find that like people who are in the like female or underrepresented founder space tend to like be really amazing problem solvers. Like they're the most likely to experience I don't know, discrimination in some way, and so it inspires these really innovative like products or services that maybe they didn't find that they got the same level of access to in their life. And so that's where I'm like, they're always creating like the most innovative things, and that's why we've just really honed in on that. We've done like gender inclusive swimwear, period wear, just all kinds of things that are very, very innovative in that way that just wasn't on the market before somebody decided to start it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Can I just ask one more question?
Yes.
And I'll toss it over to
Yeah.
you. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. No, so I love that, and I think it would be great if you could. So you just mentioned a couple examples of interesting companies that you've worked with. I'd love to know, like, tell me about what you've done for some of these clients. Help me understand like the story of your work and your influence, and helping maybe one of these specific companies. If you could just give us a use case or a story.
Yeah, I think it's connected to like creating a service that really works for them, right? Like accessibility wise, and also like timing wise. A lot of super like small businesses are like time and budget conscious, so we've like innovated solutions for them that work for them, that actually enable them to engage with a brand agency, that would empower them to like create their best like representation of themselves that actually connects to their customers to grow as a business.
Yeah.
So we also are just like very inclusive and safe space as well for anyone that works for us. I think sometimes people can feel like, especially if they don't have a certain like skill set, or it's their first time, it can be kind of vulnerable like working with an agency. And so just always like being a safe space to talk about the process and like just educate like what the ROI is of brand, or like how to implement it across all collateral and things like that. So I just think like when people take that initiative to invest and make that decision to move forward with a brand agency or freelancer, it just depends what fits them, but it's when they're most likely to see that growth. And after we've worked with those particular businesses that I mentioned, the gender inclusive swimwear brand in particular, like shortly after we went through a branding process, they ended up being able to further pitch themselves to big retailers with like a more impactful brand identity. And as a result, like landed a partnership with Target. And that's like for a lot of apparel and consumer packaged goods brands is like one of the top retailers you can access in terms of like wholesale and everything. So yeah.
That's super helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would just really like to hear when people and you, I'm going to use that term again now, passion stacking.
Yeah.
I've made up a new term, but you're basically taking the skills, the things you love, and kind of just, and why wouldn't you? Like, this is what I'm going to do. And that's really, it's freeing. I think you may have just said that, the freedom, but you know, why not?
Yeah. Or why do anything if you don't love what you do?
Yeah.
100%. Well, yeah, that's a good question.
Should we interview you now?
Like what's the point of life, you know?
Yeah. Some people get stuck doing things that they don't like to do, you know? It's tough.
What's that?
Life, you know, life is messy. But yeah, that's what's so cool about hearing people like you and other people like who are really passionate about, you know, you worked 2 jobs. You were doing 2 things at the same time.
Yeah. And did a lot of work I didn't want to do in the beginning too, like very boring, like deck work and report work and everything. So it's not all glamorous.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't done any deck work.
I do too much deck work. But yeah, anyway, sorry, you were talking about passion stuff in a new term.
Yeah, now I need to think about the next question because I had 2 in my head.
So we could talk about challenges. It would be
great. That's what I was going to ask.
Well, we were reading. So we do this thing now because we've been together for so long. We're reading each other's minds.
Yeah. Finishing each other's sandwiches.
I'm going to nick it from you. So you painted this perfect picture, really. But what are the actual challenges with focusing? Maybe it's the focusing on that niche. But any challenge you can think of running a business and making the impact you were trying to make with these clients.
Yeah. I think a big challenge is that you can like innovate and problem solve as much as you want for small businesses, but there's so many of them out there, and oftentimes there's a lot of fear of taking that step or actually investing in their business. And so especially product-based businesses, it's very, very hard to launch them well. And so that's been the biggest challenge as a services-based business is like, okay, I've created all these like custom solutions that are made for these types of businesses, but there's still like pain points on their ability to afford them. And so I guess we've just kind of gone in that new wave of like, what funding resources can we point them to, or educational resources, or like, how can they do things in like even smaller ways or part DIY? So it's always like innovating the next thing to help them be able to make the most like thoughtful moves, and feel confident in their decision on like where to invest their like limited money, basically.
I mean, talking about limited money, that's an interesting thing because, you know, I'm wondering about your model. Do you ever work for equity? Do you ever have any arrangements like that?
I have not worked for equity before. I know people who share my space that do. It is such a risk. I would rather just help people and educate them, and like when the time is right, hope that we get to reconnect. Just like be generous with my time, but not actually, you know, just share our valuable like actual service until they're really ready to make that, because it's an energy exchange, right? It's like once somebody like shares money with that's all money is energy. It's like taking that leap of faith, and then it energizes us because we're like, they're putting faith in us to like make a difference for their business. And so we create our best work when we're actually backed by that type of energy. That's a great idea. It's a great concept. I love that. Really cool.
Is there just briefly, the time is already flying by, is there like one of the most proud examples, a story? It could be someone you helped, or the impact of, you know, knock-on effect of impacting that comes to your mind that you're most proud of?
Yeah, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is that was kind of the root for me starting to think about helping women brands in particular is one of my clients right now is we've been working together for like 5 years, and we did everything from like their branding, their packaging, their website, and their name is Curie, and they've been on like Shark Tank, and they're in not every major retailer, but like Nordstrom, Anthropologie, and then now they're in like Walmart, which is in like 4,500 stores nationwide. So that's just kind of like really validating how much impact we can play as like a support role in someone's business dreams. Is like, you know, while that's so much on the entrepreneur to like get there, like branding is the thing that supports the communication that connects people to even allow them to like get that high in their like company's path. So and actually our name is Tributary Design because it's a metaphor for like a small stream going into a larger stream. So just that growth when people invest in branding and design is like why we do what we do. So that story in particular is like definitely our shining star, like case study. We're like, yes, we're helping people like build their dream businesses. So
how does that feel?
Great.
Just feel fulfilling.
And then sometimes I want to create my own product-based business.
Well, that's interesting. We've had a guest like that.
Really?
Bo Euler, but you know, early days did it for everyone else. Now they really do it them.
He was also on Shark Tank.
He was also on Shark Tank.
Oh, really?
Bo Euler, from Enlisted Design, but
Cool.
This is fantastic, though.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about now, or what's coming up for you? What excites you?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like we're really on the right path, and we're growing as a team, and potentially like hiring more in-house resources because we have like a lot of partner agencies right now to help with other services that integrate nicely with ours. So better integrating those services in-house, and just continuing to grow the team in a very like aligned way where we can keep calling in projects that like enlighten the whole team. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to most.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, we were about to say the exact same thing about Kiln, I think.
No.
Oh no! Dang it!
I should have said it. Are you part of who's helping you? Is there a community? Is there and what is that community? If there is, I don't know. I'm just wondering. Really, are you just in the ocean by yourself? Is there others helping?
Yeah, I have a couple team members that are designers specifically, but in terms of helping me as a business owner, entrepreneur, Portland is such a great community of artists and creatives. And I lived in San Francisco before this, and I just feel like the community is like night and day different. There's like no gatekeeping here. Like people are very supportive and like want to help your business grow, and everything feels like accessible. Like you can talk to any founder here of like even the top restaurants, and you're like, wow, you're such a nice person. It feels like a very like egalitarian place in a way. So I just think the community itself is really, really great here. And, you know, women's networking groups help and things like that as well. And being out in Kiln is great. And just running into peers and talking about our problems and things like that can just be a nice sounding board.
And that's what you see Kiln is, like this really nice place, but actually it's the collisions that you...
It's a kiln.
It is the kiln, absolutely.
We said the same thing. I think we like to think about it that way.
Yeah, we do. Into the kiln.
It's great branding. 5 stars.
Sure. Hey, well done, Lee. An Arian. He's British, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Designer. I shouldn't say, keep saying
the founder of Kiln is British?
No.
The co-founder is British, and he's the designer, and then the founder is
Danish,
Arian.
Right?
No, well,
I thought someone was Danish.
He may be. He's got blonde hair. He may be from. That sounds. But he's actually one of my neighbors, Arian Lewis. But he lived in the UK, but he's American. But yeah, him and Lee.
Yeah. But this
last question,
Marielle. This was fantastic. We really appreciate you being on the podcast. I think it would be great. We ask this to everybody. It would be great to understand, from your point of view, how do you create something that never existed before?
Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln. Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West, dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the Kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Campervans, a luxury campervan rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra campervans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Moterra instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Moterra offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomoterra.com/swell. That's gomoterra.com/swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
also ensure energy security with backup power during outages,
reduce carbon emissions with renewables.
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables,
and enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your Taurus station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at taurus.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Energy, a lot of energy. I just think digging deep for what you really want in life and finding that source of energy to keep propelling you forward and keep making decisions that feel aligned with why you started something in the first place, and tapping into that when you need to, but also resting when you need to, because life is busy. And it's just about that balance and figuring out what you need to build to be really happy at the end of the day that you've created something that aligns with your values.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in 2 ways. 1, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, at the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.